stories with surprising twists. Tonight, Patrick will highlight the stories of two entertainers who met unexpected success. Giving the speech, Surprising Success Stories, Patrick McGinty.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. I am a sucker for success stories. I love success stories where people overcome great odds, fight through adversity, and meet unexpected success. Because from stories like that, you start to think that anything is possible, and that success can be had at any age. And tonight, I'd like to highlight two stories about two entertainers that you may or may not have heard of. The first is Arnel Pineda, and the second, Sixto Rodriguez. Arnel Pineda grew up in a poor family in Manila, in the Philippines. When he was 13, his mom died, and he became a homeless child. To earn money for food, he began singing on a street corner. And he was so good that he was hired by a band, and he earned enough money to feed his whole family. He again got hired by another traveling band in Hong Kong. But that's when things started going downhill, because he got into drugs, drinking, a failed marriage, got kicked out of his band, and hit a low point in his life. And he quit singing. After about 6 months, he moved back to Manila. And he recognized he loved singing, and that his dream in life was to become a recording artist. So he began singing cover songs in the bars and lounges of the Philippines. And while he was there singing these songs, one of his fans decided to film him singing 6 hours of cover songs and to put it on YouTube. Meanwhile, across the ocean in San Francisco, California, Neal Schon, the lead guitarist of the 1980s power band Journey, was going crazy. His lead singer just quit, and he couldn't find a lead singer anywhere. He connected with all his contacts throughout the world, and they couldn't give him a lead. Because the singer they needed needed to be a powerful voice. It's kind of like Steve Perry from 20 years earlier, but they couldn't find anybody. So he began to troll the YouTube, and he couldn't find, for weeks, and he couldn't find anybody. Because they were about to go on a world tour, and they seriously needed a lead singer, and they couldn't find one. And they were just about to give up, and just to cancel the world tour, when he said, I'm just going to give it one more night, and I'm going to look up YouTube. And as he was looking through YouTube, he found somebody with a powerful voice singing Journey songs in a bar in the Philippines. His name was Arnel Pineda. And he was like, wow, I can't believe how powerful this guy's voice is. I'm going to try to contact him. So he called Arnel in the Philippines. And when Arnel picked up the phone and said, Neal Schon, he said, he hung up on him because he thought it was a hoax. Because no, Neal Schon called right back and said, no, this is Neal Schon, and I want to invite you back to California to have you audition to be the lead singer of Journey. He's like, what would they want from a short Asian guy? But he went to California, and he went from singing just on YouTube to becoming the lead singer of Journey and traveling all over the world in front of millions of people for over 10 years. And if you haven't seen the movie, Don't Stop Believing, and Every Man's Journey, it's on Netflix. It's spectacular. The second story is of Sixto Rodriguez. Sixto Rodriguez was a Mexican-American who grew up in Detroit, Michigan. In the late 60s, he created 2 albums, but he sold a total of 6 records, and he went into obscurity. Little did he know, somebody smuggled his records to South Africa. And in South Africa, they played the albums on the radio, and it became the anthem of the apartheid movement. Rodriguez became more popular than the Rolling Stones and Elvis Presley. Yet no one knew who Rodriguez was. So the rumor was that he had died of a suicide. So that's what people believed. So two super fans said, we want to go back to the United States and find out what really happened to Rodriguez. So they didn't know where he was from, so they decided, they looked at the verses, and they realized he's from Michigan. So they went to Michigan to find out how he died. But the surprising part was, he was living. He was working construction. He was about 60 years old. And when these fans found Rodriguez, they told him how popular he was in South Africa. And they asked him to come to South Africa to sing before the people. And he was like, at first he was like, I don't want to go. But the funny part was, he told his construction workers, yeah, I got a gig in South Africa to sing before 20,000 people. So they flew him there, and everyone thought he was dead. He was like a ghost. Came on the stage, and it was like he'd never stopped singing all those 60 years. And if you haven't seen the movie, it's called Searching for Sugar Man. And that's also on Netflix. So success stories such as Arnel Pineda and Sixto Rodriguez are unreal and bring hope to many. And if you haven't seen those two movies, Don't Stop Believing and Every Man's Journey, as well as Searching for Sugar Man, I highly recommend them. Because you won't be disappointed, especially if you're a sucker for success stories like myself, Mr. Toastmaster.